Home Minister Amit Shah announced in the Rajya Sabha that the government has repealed Article 370 of the Constitution.
असमय सीज फायर नहीं होता तो आज पाक ऑक्यूपाई कश्मीर नहीं।
Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. If you are new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss out on our insightful content. Today we have a fascinating topic to discuss that has been making headlines recently with the abrogation of Article 370 that granted special status to the Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir. Next, let us discuss the complex history of the Kashmir dispute between India and Pakistan. As many of you may know, the Supreme Court of India recently upheld the abrogation of Article 370 of the Indian Constitution. Additionally, Union Home Minister Amit Shah has blamed Jawaharlal Nehru for mishandling the Kashmir issue. In this video, we shall explore some lesser-known facts about the Kashmir dispute between India and Pakistan and discuss whether Nehru's decision to take the Kashmir issue to the United Nations was a blunder. Before going deep into the topic, let us understand some basics. The British Parliament had enacted the Indian Independence Act to formally declare independence to India. According to the provisions of this act, the princely states had the option of joining either India or Pakistan or to remain independent. Kashmir chose to remain independent because, according to the Maharaja Hari Singh of Kashmir, the majority Kashmiri Muslims would not be happy with India, whereas Hindus and Sikhs of his state would be averse to joining an Islamic Pakistan. Also, the Maharaja was worried about his rule being replaced by democracy. The Maharaja later offered to sign a standstill agreement with both India and Pakistan. Pakistan agreed to sign the standstill agreement immediately, but India delayed the signing of the same. As per the provisions of the standstill agreement, the signatories had to continue the existing arrangements that existed between Kashmir and the British Crown. Now, let us look at how Pakistan tried to take control of Kashmir using military means. Pakistan would have preferred a full-scale attack to gain control of Kashmir in 1947, but the fact that Pakistan army was headed by a British general made it difficult for Pakistan to launch a full-scale attack against Kashmir, which was a British ally at that time. With a letter dated January 1, 1948, Nehru approached the United Nations Security Council seeking its assistance. In this letter, Nehru sought the United Nations to force Pakistan to stop providing support to the invaders. Nehru had the option of approaching the United Nations under two provisions of the United Nations Charter, Article 35 and Article 51. If Nehru wanted to paint Pakistan as the aggressor in Kashmir, he should have approached the United Nations under Article 51 of the United Nations Charter, which dealt with threats to peace, breaches of the peace, and acts of aggression. But Nehru wanted to resolve the issue under Article 35 of the UN Charter, which dealt with solving bilateral disputes between countries. Nehru wanted to solve the Kashmir dispute according to the aims and aspirations of the people of Kashmir. This is an ideological position rather than a realistic position. Now, let us understand how the United Nations has dealt with the Kashmir issue. As discussed earlier, Nehru had approached the United Nations under Article 35, which deals with territorial disputes. This, according to some analysts, has given Pakistan a chance to question the accession of Kashmir to India. Now, the United Nations Security Council has started looking at the Kashmir dispute as a dispute between India and Pakistan rather than a problem of aggression by Pakistan. At this, Nehru had regretted his decision to approach the United Nations in the first place. In 1948, the Security Council passed Resolution 39, establishing the United Nations Commission for India and Pakistan to investigate and mediate the Kashmir dispute. Subsequent resolutions, including Resolution 47 of 1948, laid out a framework for a plebiscite to allow the people of Jammu and Kashmir to determine their political future. Now, let us look at how India approaching the United Nations affected Indian position on Kashmir adversely. Nehru approaching the United Nations under Article 35 and not under Article 51 over Kashmir gave Pakistan a solid reason to believe Kashmir is a disputed territory. This has led to the United Nations calling for a plebiscite on the issue of Kashmir's accession to India, which India had considered a done deal. This has led to internationalization of the Kashmir dispute, which led to the United Nations passing multiple resolutions seeking ceasefire, withdrawal of troops, and a plebiscite to determine the future of Jammu and Kashmir. Pakistan has used these resolutions to bolster its argument for the right to self-determination of the people of Kashmir. By internationalizing the Kashmir dispute, Pakistan has been able to make Kashmir dispute a subject in multiple international forums and garnered diplomatic support, especially from Islamic countries. Pakistan projected the Kashmir dispute as a human rights issue to gain support from international humanitarian organizations. Internationalization of Kashmir dispute ensured that it remained a global issue and prevented India from calling the issue a bilateral dispute between India and Pakistan. Now, it is the time to look at Pakistan's argument against the instrument of accession. Pakistan has contested the circumstances surrounding the accession. Pakistan claims that the Maharaja signed the instrument of accession under duress after the Indian troops had already been deployed in Kashmir. Also, according to Pakistan, as there was a popular movement against the Maharaja of Kashmir, he was not entitled to sign the instrument of accession on behalf of the Kashmiri people. Also, Pakistan argued that the date of signing of the instrument of accession appears to be forged to make it look like the instrument of accession was signed much before the invasion of tribal mercenaries. Now, India had to counter these allegations of Pakistan to make its position stronger on Kashmir. India had asserted that the Maharaja of Kashmir signed the instrument of accession willingly and voluntarily, seeking the assistance of India to repel tribal invaders supported by Pakistan. The Indian narrative emphasizes on the legitimacy of accession as a response to the security situation of the day. To counter Pakistan's narrative on the Maharaja's competence to sign the instrument of accession, Nehru took the help of Sheikh Abdullah, who was a mass leader of Kashmir at the time. Sheikh Abdullah then ratified the instrument of accession in the Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir. It was in this context that Kashmir was given a special status under Article 370 of the Indian Constitution, which was recently abrogated by the Government of India. India also condemned Pakistan's narrative about forging the date of signing of the instrument of accession. Hence, it can be concluded that though Nehru approached the United Nations with good intentions, but he realized that he had committed a blunder by taking the issue of Kashmir to the United Nations. However, it must be realized that Pakistan has failed to alter the status quo in Kashmir both militarily and legally. Nehru had approached the United Nations with an idea to resolve the Kashmir dispute in good faith by involving the international community. However, Nehru had given a long rope to Pakistan by internationalizing the Kashmir dispute by taking it to the United Nations. Pakistan has taken advantage of this and kept the pot boiling in Jammu and Kashmir till date.